Time for sports now. Basketball front and center in Des Moines this afternoon at the Wells Fargo Arena. Burlington Notre Dame hitting the court in the 1A state quarterfinal game against Lawrence Marathon. The Nikes off to a fast start. Andrew Schilling right there using the left hand. Burlington Notre Dame led 11-9 after one. In the second quarter, more from Schilling, the up and under move. And despite going 1 of 10 from three-point land, the Nikes only trailed the Chargers by 1 at the half. The deficit 5 after 3. But in the fourth, Ryan Stumbo, who finished with 12, got that one to fall. Lawrence Marathon up 38-29, but when Chris Kirk hits the three-pointer with 1:58 to play, the Nikes down by 5. But the Chargers handled the press. And when Adam Wooden gets the layup, it's all over but the shouting. Wooden had a game-high 17. And Lawrence Marathon won it 47-35. They advanced to the semifinals, while Burlington Notre Dame ends its season at 23-4.
You know, our post did a good job carrying us in the first half, but then second half when they really started keying on the post and making things difficult, you know, the outside shots weren't falling, so it's tough to win when you only got one facet of your game going.
It did get down to a 5-point game in the second half.
Yeah, we were right there. That's why I say I just thought we were a step slow, you know. I thought when we needed a big rebound, that Lawrence Marathon came up with an offensive rebound, or when we needed a big score, we just couldn't quite get it in the basket.
Of course, it's always a good accomplishment to make the state, be in top 8 teams in the state out of, you know, hundreds. But, you know, I'm not satisfied with just coming up here and playing and losing, but it's just had to happen, I guess.
And the Quad City Flames' Kyle Greentree's been named the AHL Player of the Week in 4 games. Greentree had 4 goals and 5 assists for 9 points. The All-Big Ten teams announced, and Iowa's Matt Gatens made the All-Rookie team. Illinois' Mike Davis, the second-team selection. Dimitri McCamey made the third team. Mike Tisdale and Iowa's Jake Kelly received honorable mention. Going to have more news coming up after this. In 2 weeks, girls softball teams in Class 1A and 2A begin postseason play. Now this afternoon, Sherrard taking on Rock Island in a non-conference game, getting ready for the postseason run. Tigers get on the board first as Kelly Hornick hits a pop-up. It falls untouched, and the rally was underway. One batter later, Ashley Parker with a line shot to right field, and that will go for extra bases. It's a double, and the runners go to second and third, and that would bring Taryn Schaefer to the plate. And Schaefer going to deliver. A bloop single to left. It's going to fall in. It's a 2-run single as Hornick and Parker come on in for the 2-0 lead. And on the hill today, Kelly Patterson getting some help as even with the wild pitch coming up here, Schaefer behind the plate throws out the runner attempting to steal. Sherrard goes on and wins by a score of 3-1. And after sweeping Galesburg in a doubleheader Saturday, the Moline softball team can wrap up the Western Big Six title this weekend in Quincy. Now, pitching's been the key. The Maroons, led by Molly Mitchell, a senior who became a full-time starter this season. She was a guest last night on Quad City Sports Spotlight. Did you feel like you had something to prove? Because this is your first year as a real big-time starter.
I did. At the beginning of the year, I thought I had a lot to prove. And I feel that it's going good. It's going well. And I feel that I am proving myself. But it would come around.
It seems like you're having a lot of fun out there.
I am having a lot of fun. I've been playing softball for a long time. And just going out there and thinking that it's no big, and it's pretty good.
Now when we come back in a moment, I'll take you around the majors, the Cubs, Cards, and Sox, all in action tonight. That's on deck on WQAD, Quad Cities News 8. Welcome back. Let's move on to the major leagues. The Cubs home with the Giants. The Cubs placing Carlos Zambrano on a 15-day DL with that hamstring injury. Aramis Ramirez did return from a strained calf. Now after a bases-loaded walk in the second, the Cubs add more. Ryan Terrio, a 2-run shot to right off Jonathan Sanchez. 3-0 at that point, and the Cubs win it by a score of 4-2. Cards, leaders in the NL Central, taking on the world champs. The Phillies now up 1-0 in the fourth, but the pitch to Jason Worth not coming back. That's a home run, his third of the year. Then in the fifth, Ryan Howard with the bases loaded, swinging a long drive. Yeah, it's out of here. Grand slam. Put this one in the win column for the Fightin' Phils, 6-1. And the Sox facing Zach Greinke, the Royals, looking to become the first 6-game winner in the majors, almost unhittable tonight. Now in the third, David DeJesus with a solo homer off Bartolo Colon. That made it 2-0, but Greinke was brilliant. His third complete game, second shutout, 10 Ks, 6-hitter, 0.40 ERA. He is 6-0 with a 3-0 win. And the River Bandits tonight, they lost in Clinton 12-2.
All right, thank you, Mick.
Finally tonight on
Time for sports and a backyard gathering today in Moline as Ansley DeVries, a three-sport standout at Olivan High School, announced her college plans. She's going to attend Greenville College next season and play volleyball. DeVries played varsity all 4 seasons for the Pioneers. This past year, she was named to the All-Western Big Six and All-Metro teams. But what attracted her to Greenville?
Well, they have my selected major, which is physical therapy, and I also get to minor in forensics. They also have an awesome campus, and I get to play volleyball. Volleyball has always really been my passion, and I love playing volleyball ever since I started playing it in 7th grade and playing it with my aunt when I was really little. So it's always just been really fun, and it's always been a challenge for me, so I'm really excited to be able to play.
And after picking up a win yesterday over Cedar Rapids, the River Bandits had the day off before opening a 4-game road trip in Peoria. Then the team will return home on Saturday and start a 10-game homestand, longest of the season. Now with the off day, relievers David Carpenter and Casey Mulligan have time to work on their bullpen pranks. They were guests last night on Quad Cities Sports Spotlight.
Well, we did one last year. One of the guys on our team, we stuffed all of his shirts, his hats, and his cleats in a bucket. And we filled it up with water, and we put it in the freezer overnight. And he came back the next day with a cube of ice frozen with all his clothes and stuff in it. That was probably the main ones we did last year.
Very good. And you can hear more from the relievers at WQAD.com. Just click on the sports page. St. Ambrose women's golf team in Rapid City, South Dakota. They'll begin play at the NAIA National Championships tomorrow. The team led by senior Kelly Jansen from Bettendorf, a 2-time Player of the Year in her conference. She told me that controlling the emotions on day 1 of the championships is the biggest challenge.
I'm kind of nervous about it, but I think that we'll do well as a team. We've worked really hard this season, and I think it'll all pay off.
Now, you've been there before. Some of your teammates have as well. So is it a little easier to handle the jitters as far as that goes?
Yeah, I think now that we've all seen it before, we'll know what to expect, and no one will be as nervous as last year.
And finally, the John Deere Classic giving a sponsor's exemption to 19-year-old international star Danny Lee. And the Blackhawks at home tonight, they can wrap up their Stanley Cup Series against Vancouver with a win. They'd go on to the conference finals. So for the first time in a long time, the Blackhawks playing some great hockey.
We're good. And Warren Randazzo, we like that prank. He might not want to leave his shoes and ties laying around in the bathroom anymore.
We'll have to keep notes on that one.
Thanks,
Mick. Finally tonight.
We are live at Modern Woodman Park. The Cyclone Tailgate Tour is in town. Upstairs, people get the chance to meet with other head coaches. But right now, the first-year head football coach, Paul Rhodes, is with us. And thanks for coming in, and welcome to the Quad Cities.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
You are a first-year head coach, and I guess the big question is, what is the biggest challenge facing a first-year head coach, especially at Iowa State?
Besides everything?
Besides everything.
We have work to do in all phases of our program, and I think every day you go about challenging those tasks, and it never slows down. As we approach September 3rd, there's always something to do, and that's how we're going about our business.
You came from Auburn. Any major change between SEC and Big 12 football?
Very similar. Both fan bases are extremely passionate about the game. I think the defensive side of the ball is a little bit more advanced in the SEC, and I think the offensive side of the ball is more advanced in the Big 12.
Now, this is your trip into the Quad Cities. I know you've already recruited people like Kyle Lichtenberg from Bettendorf. It's important to get out here, especially when there's a team that has black and gold that wants to get their hooks into these guys, too.
That's exactly right. The Quad Cities is a very important area to us recruiting, as is the entire state of Iowa, and we will leave no stone unturned when it comes to recruiting Iowa kids.
Grew up near Ankeny, an Iowa State fan as a kid growing up. You're familiar with that rivalry with the Iowa Hawkeyes?
Very, very familiar. It's a big rivalry, and we won't take the game lightly, I can promise you that.
Well, Paul Rhodes, pleasure to meet you here in the Quad Cities, and thanks for joining us.
Very, very much a pleasure for me to be on with you.
Paul Rhodes, head coach for the Iowa State Cyclones. Let's talk baseball briefly as this afternoon the White Sox taking on Cleveland. This one over early, bottom of the first. Victor Martinez taking Mark Burley deep to right center field, his 7th of the year, a 1-0 lead. And then in the bottom of the 4th, Ryan Garco's turn, a 2-run shot to left, more than enough for Indians pitcher Cliff Lee, who fanned 9 and 7 scoreless innings. Indians beat the White Sox by a score of 4-0. Well, that's the story here from Modern Woodman Park. We'll hear from some of the other Iowa State coaches who are in town tonight at 10. Live, I'm Mick Moninghoff, WQAD Quad Cities News 8.
Thank you very much, Mick, and we are keeping a close eye on things tonight. What's
Time for sports now. Paint the town red and gold. That was the order of the day in the Quad Cities as the Iowa State Cyclone Tailgate Tour rolled into modern Woodman Park. Athletic Director Jamie Pollard and many of the Clones coaches on hand to meet and greet their fans as they have a pretty big following in this area. I had a chance to speak with a few of them, including hoops coach Greg McDermott, who's happy to have Greg Brackens back.
Well, it helps in recruiting immensely to have a guy like Craig Brackens to sell your program and a guy that's turned down millions of dollars to stay at Iowa State for one more season. So he's going to have a huge impact on our recruiting.
It's important to get into the Davenport area, isn't it?
It's important to get everywhere in the state, and certainly over here in the Davenport area and the Quad Cities area. We took a great player out of there this year in Kyle Lichtenberg, and several players from the team, which will be here tonight, are also on the roster from over here.
And today at Davenport North High, Greg Kern, introduced as the new head football coach. He takes over for John Flynn, who's going to stay on as the athletic director. Kern coached in the area for 18 years, an assistant at West from 90 to 2005, also an assistant at North before being elevated to that top job. This is his first head coaching position.
The kids are full of enthusiasm. They love football here. They haven't won yet, but that's going to happen. And John Flynn did a heck of a job last year laying the groundwork for a successful program. He did all things you need to do. He put them all in place, so part of that job is done. I'm coming in and taking that part of it over. But we will have success here at this school.
Now, when we come back in a moment, I'll take you around the major leagues with the Cubs, the Cards, and the Sox as we continue on WQAD Quad Cities News 8. Welcome back. The Cubs were home tonight looking for their third straight against the Padres, losers of 4 in a row. Bottom of the first, they had back-to-back homers from Soriano and Terrio, plus a Milton Bradley's RBI single. In the third, Giovanni Soto, this 2-run shot. And then in the fourth, Terrio added his second of the game. Right now, the Cubs lead at 6-4 in the 8th, but it is in a rain delay. There was Major League history made in Pittsburgh, as Adam LaRoche of the Pirates had the first home run ever taken away by video replay as it was ruled a ground rule double. But that didn't stop the Bucks in this one. The big blow in the game coming in the 6th inning when Niger Morgan hits a 2-run single off Joel Pinheiro, and the Cards now have dropped 2 in a row to the Pirates, losing 5-2. Day baseball, the Sox in Cleveland. This one over early. Bottom of the first, Victor Martinez taking Mark Burley deep to right for his 7th of the year and a 1-0 lead. Then we moved to the bottom of the 4th. It was Ryan Garco's turn. A 2-run homer to left. More than enough for the Indians starter Cliff Lee, who struck out 9 in 7 scoreless innings. Indians beat the White Sox 4-0. Now, after winning the last 2 games on the road, the Steamwheelers back home to face South Georgia on Saturday. Both teams lead their respective divisions. Both have 2 losses. So I asked Troy Bilodeau, the head coach, how will they approach the home game on Saturday night?
Well, we're going to treat this as a road game. We're going to get in the bus right before the game and do a couple laps around the iWireless Center. But we're trying to treat every game the same, whether at home or away. Winning is contagious, so is losing, So we won a couple games. We feel pretty good about ourselves. We're playing good. We're coming together as a team.
Well, hopefully they'll do well. And River Bandits, they were rained out
Very
today.
good. And my friends at Iowa State would want to remind you it's cardinal and gold, but it looks a lot like red.
Looks like red. Well, paint the town red.
Exactly. Anthony's back with the latest on your forecast.
Watching WQAD, the Quad Cities news leader. Live, local, late-breaking. This is News 8 at 6.
Barely a month ago, the Quad City Flames left town because they couldn't put enough fans in the seats. Now another professional sports team may follow. Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
The Steamwheelers have been a fixture in the Quad Cities for 10 years, but if things don't change, the days could be numbered for the arena football team. Sports Director Mick Moninghoff is here with the latest on this developing story. Mick?
Well, the Steamwheelers are in debt, and today the ownership group A&J Football had a meeting with Arena 2 President Jerry Kurz on how they're going to proceed with the rest of the season. Now, as of now, the owners have not commented, but my sources confirm, yes, the team is in the red. In short, they'd like to operate as a not-for-profit franchise, but to do that, they'd have to break even this year before that could happen next season. The Quad Cities has already lost its hockey team, and the Steamwheelers head coach Troy Bilodeau told me it'd be sad to see another team leave.
Obviously, hockey was out of here, and Quad City. It's been a rich history of hockey and football in this town, and people got to come to the games though. That's the bottom line. It is a dollars business. It's a business just like anything else. But we got a good fan support. We got good sponsors, and like I said, we're just hoping for the best. We're on the schedule as far as I know. We're playing Peoria. No one's told me differently, and that's the approach. There's a lot of rumors going around out there. But like I said, no one has told me you guys aren't playing. So until that happens from someone from the league office, we're planning on playing Peoria.
That's who they'd play this week. Now, team officials have gone on record saying they need about 6,000 more fans a game to keep their heads above water. That's about 2,000 more than they get right now. Vanessa?
Thank you, Mick. The not-for-profit model is nothing new to the F2. It's already being used in the league by the Lexington Horsemen in Kentucky. Here's a closer look at how